Hey everybody, so I just wanted to give you a quick update on how the baby goldfish are getting on. These little beauties are about 7 to 8 days old now. It does vary a little bit because they were born over a period of 2 days. And they're doing absolutely fantastic. They're just at to get on the feed of live baby brine shrimp. And I just kind of wanted to talk to you about what I've been doing so far over the course of the past week to get them to this point. Because they're doing really well. I'm really happy with how they're coming on. Just a little bit of an overview on the tank, the cleaning routine, the kind of husbandry that I'm doing at the moment on them. Just making sure that they are all super healthy and happy. Home feeding, that kind of thing. So yeah, just a quick overview on how we're getting on with the baby goldfish. So these guys are, like I said, 7 or 8 days old, depending on the individual. And their parentage is a bit of a mix. The mother is a beautiful Panda Oranda. She is an absolute stunner. And the fathers could potentially be any one of a bunch of different guys. Because there was a lot of action trying to get in on the spawning and the pond. Yeah, there was a bunch of dads involved. So depending on who actually managed to fertilize the eggs, because the eggs got literally knocked all over the pond, and like I mean literally squirted up the walls and outside of the pond. That female is huge, and my god, she was full of eggs. So a couple of different potential fathers, so I'm really excited to see what way these turn out, because I have a feeling there's going to be a bit of a mix. Some guys like this seem to have a single tail. There are some that have twin tails. Some seem to be forming their caudal field really nicely. Some whose fathers are potentially ranchus don't seem to be forming only a bit of it. So there's a big mix. There's a big mix potentially, and it's already starting to look like as if there may be a bit of a mix. So the tank. Let's talk about the tank. Well, yeah. So we'll talk about the tank first of all, really quickly. So the tank that I've got here, it's like a 60-liter tank, and all you can see here, all I've got is a tiny bit of stone. That stone had live bacteria from my filter, and some plants. And the plants are just a couple of bits that I pulled out of the pond. The Elodea, Java, and a marrow moss ball. Now the marrow moss ball, I actually pulled another marrow moss ball in early on, and I actually squeezed it just to get some of the tiny little critters and life that was in it out. And there's a baby fish in it, which was awesome. She's mixed in with these guys now. But that's got a couple of little tiny worms in it. It's got some critters. Pulled in some snails as well. You know, that's absolutely fine. Because these guys came out of that pond. Their parents had laid the eggs all over all of the plants. And yeah, it was, you know, from the environment where they came. That's fine. And some of the plants had some tiny little hydra on it as well. Now, hydra have like a couple little stinging tentacles, tiny little baby fry they can give some hardship to. So, yeah, it was, you know, little snails and stuff. Pond snails, they'll go for hydra. They'll try to eat them and munching them. So, we've managed to get rid of all of those. The snails have certainly helped. There was a bunch of different live creatures in this, but I've slowly kind of been removing everything that isn't either the 1 or 2 pond snails or the baby fish, and get things back really nice and clean. So started off nice and natural, keeping it that way, but really I just want to make sure that these guys are super healthy. So keeping the tank nice and clean. You can, of course, before you take them in, rinse off your plants in all clean water and try get rid of any possibility of transfer from the pond in. You know what, it's difficult to do. You can, of course, suck the eggs off with a turkey baster and rinse them through fresh water and bring them in and go for like a completely sterile setup. You know, that's another way of doing it, which can really, you know, increase your success rate, particularly if you've got huge amounts of eggs. I've only got a few eggs here, and I have the time that I can put in with them to make sure that they're healthy and happy. So I'm able to do that, and they're coming on really nice. But generally, after I got them in, put them in, they had a couple of days in here Not very long. I gradually increased the water temperature. The pond outside, it's double insulated, it's heated. These guys are at about 18 degrees, but got it up to about 24, 25, 26 degrees in here. Added aeration, and I left the water really low, like about 1.5 inches, 2 inches maximum. They didn't need it to be any deeper, so they got up for their first breath. A couple of them looked like as if they were struggling to get up for their first breath. I helped them out with the turkey baster. They filled up that air sac, got themselves sorted, and now they are absolutely flying around. This is a week later. The growth rate has been absolutely phenomenal. They started off looking like little tiny pinheads with 2 eyelets at the end, and there's no colour around their eye. It's just a black dot. They look like they're wearing sunglasses after a day or two, because the black dots get a little bit bigger, and it literally is just, they're a tiny clear little alien creature. They just have one little black stripe running down their back where their spinal cord is, and that runs off into their 2 eyeballs, which are 2 little tiny black dots. They are so tiny, and they like more than double in size every day. Like their body weight just increases massively over the course of the first week. It continues to do so for a number of weeks. But you can see here, the ground here is all wriggling and alive. That's baby brine shrimp, live baby brine shrimp. That is what these guys are eating, and that's why you might see some of these guys have pink bellies. Now the pink is starting to not show through as much because the fish are actually starting to get their outside body colour. It was much easier to see when they were completely transparent, and they are for most of the first week. You can see the entire insides of the fish. But that live baby brine shrimp, that is a culture that I make. I'll show you some footage of that. And that is a great first food for your baby goldfish. Full of all the nutrients they need for super growth. And its movement, the way it's wriggling, entices the baby goldfish, particularly in the first day, to actually get out there and eat. Realize that, right, this is interesting, I'm going to check this out. Oh, bite it, spit it out. Oh, no, it's good, I like it, we'll go again, we'll go again. And they keep doing that, and they just, you want to see how quickly they fill their little bellies. Some of these guys, their poops would be the same size as them, absolutely crazy. So, they just keep on munching away in this stuff. Now, I've had really good success after, like, I've put the baby brine shrimp in the freezer, let it cool down overnight, because I had an issue with my baby brine shrimp eggs that I was hatching, and these guys went without them for 2 days. They were on egg yolk. Now, there's a process for doing the egg yolk if you're going to feed it to these guys, and it was just pure egg yolk that I used. I didn't mix anything in with it. Where you just take the egg yolk, you boil a hard-boiled egg, and you make it you have to get it into the finest paste that you can. I'll do a video on that if anybody's interested. These guys readily consume that. They had baby brine shrimp for the first 2 days, then they had 1 or 2 days with the egg yolk, and they've been back on baby brine shrimp since. And then I got some new eggs and got them going. And you can see here they're all wriggling around on the floor. These guys absolutely love them. And when I'm doing the water change, what I'm doing is I'm getting my siphon in, and I'm rubbing it along the bottom and the end of it, and I'm sucking up all these guys, because these guys, once they, you know, give it an hour or two, I'm getting about 2 hours, like I said, give it about that 2 hours and come back in and get them out, because they'll form a carpet of essentially dead animals on the bottom of your tank, which is not going to be conducive to a good, clean, healthy tank. They'll be breaking down, turning into ammonia, potentially going fungus, putting your fish at risk. So get back in, give them a good clean, make sure everything is spotless, top it off with fresh water. These little guys then will have nice clean fresh water then for the next while. Now, there are no filters essentially in this tank. All that's providing the filtration is the little bit of bacteria, live bacteria that was on these stones, these plants, that's it. Everything else is being done via water change. So you need to stay on top of that. You need to make sure that you are getting your water changes in. What I'll do is I'll add a live ready to go filter sponge over that air stone over the next maybe week. And what it'll do is, as the bubbles are rising, it will suck water through that sponge, which I'll already have, you know, a live culture of bacteria on from before it even got in here. and that'll be live and ready to go and provide some nice filtration, because as these guys are getting bigger, they are producing more waste. By the time you get down here in the morning, there is a carpet of poop on the bottom of the tank, so you need to make sure that you've got it spotless, really nice and clean. Just make sure these guys stay really nice and healthy. So that's kind of a quick basic overview of how we kind of got these guys to this point. It's only been a week for some, 8 days for others. You know what, they're doing super well. I'm really happy with how they're coming on. The growth rate's phenomenal. It's nice to grow baby goldfish again. And it's going to be just so awesome seeing what the parentage is, who the father is, because, you know, I'm not these aren't being bred for sale or anything like that. These are just for myself. And yeah, it's nice to be able to kind of just get these guys on, enjoy them, see what way they turn out. I could have lifted 2 particular parents and tried to create a particular fish. I don't know, sometimes it's nice to see what way the kind of mixes and varieties turn out, because the colour potentials, like the range is just phenomenal on the parents. Calico, reds, whites, blacks, and you know, beautiful golden oranges, and yeah, I just can't wait to see what way these guys turn out. It's going to be awesome. So it's going to be a little while before they start getting their real colours on. These guys are going to get nice and big over the next maybe 2 or 3 weeks. You'll see their bodies are starting to get that kind of more familiar shape where they're getting that kind of deeper roundy tummy. So expect that to kind of just continue to drop and get bigger and stay kind of quite short on their bodies. And we'll see, some of the tails might start dropping down, and they'd be the line heads, ranchus that I have, that we're trying to breed. They stay a bit longer and more straighter. That would, you know, there's Orandas and stuff like that in there as well. So red caps and black and red and whites, and just a mix. I can't wait to see what way they turn out. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to give you a quick overview. Baby goldfish, how I got them to this point. If you have any questions, let me know. Stick them in the comments below. And yeah, check out my Instagram. That's Greg Dorney. That's where I have loads of updates going on, because it's super handy and easy, just doing little updates throughout the day and posting little videos. I have to say, I am enjoying this phone. It's the Huawei P30 Pro. It's waterproof, so I'm able to kind of dunk the camera end in and just get some videos and stuff in the pond, which is cool. It's a bit of fun. And the video footage, let me know what you think. It's pretty good. This is at like 1.9 times zoom. You got crazy wide angles. So I have a bit of a range. The thing about baby goldfish is this is 5 times optical, which is cool. But the thing about baby goldfish is they are so small that the depth of field is going to be super tiny when you are trying to get in and get a good close shot of them, a macro shot. Oh, there's one back there. There we go. The depth of field is going to be really tiny, so it's tough enough on a camera system to try and pick them out, focus in on them. So that's why whenever I am going in and trying to get these guys, what I'll normally do is I'll put it into manual focus, and I'll manually move the camera back and forth a little tiny bit. It makes for kind of slightly more kind of jittery video sometimes, so my apologies. But what it will allow me to do is try to keep these guys in focus, because if you move the camera off a tiny bit with these, the focus it can shoot about a bit. But it's trying to hunt and find what it is that you're trying to focus on in something that is really, really tiny. Like macro equipment, my goodness, like my background is professional photography, and macro equipment is super expensive. Always has been. So it's amazing that you can get all this stuff on phones now. It's really cool. But anyway, check me out at Greg Dorney on Instagram. And yeah, loads of video updates on how all these little baby goldfish and all my other fish are getting on. So yeah, take it easy everybody. Bye.